One day, when I was coming home from teaching, I'm an Irish historian. I teach at a university, and I'm just finished classes. I'm coming home, taking care of the chickens, as always. So I felt this female presence around me. I was like, this is like so familiar. I'm like, and she was really kind of fun and feminine and trying to get me to like be feminine, like and girly. And I rarely had those feelings. That'll be a whole separate video about my inability to be in this body and understand being in this body for so many reasons. It's going to have its own video because I never was. And I'm still not entirely in my body. So this sensation I'd never felt in my life. It's a sense of like girlfriends, looking pretty, being kind of, alluring and feminine. So I was like, what is going on? It was just so strange for me. I'm like, what is going on? And I was like, oh my God, who is this energy? And then I hear this, it's Semjase. What? I'm like, I couldn't, Semjase? She said, Semjase. I'm like, Semjase, what? She's like, it's your friend, Semjase. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, how? So yeah. And immediately for me, the sensation was, how can someone like me, and this is how we think, and this is the whole reason I'm actually doing this YouTube thing. Anyway, well, I'm being forced by the Federation, but secondly, it's like they pretty much made me, guilted me into it. But I mean, secondly, I want to do it for so many people out there that I meet that have had these amazing contact experiences and they're all afraid to come forward. And now a lot of people are afraid to come forward because of other contactees who feel like they're the only ones who have contact and no one else can have contact. And only certain people can have contact with certain beings. And you have to be a certain clique or club to be. And if you're not, then we're going to attack you and, call you a liar and a fraud. And no one wants to come forward. And I totally understand that. But I don't care about humans at all. Not in that sense. I have compassion for Earth humans, and I want you guys to succeed, and I want to see this planet work well. But I have zero interest in having any humans, I don't know, verify me or say I'm not interested. No, okay. My friends are upstairs, and the rest of my family are non-human, the chickens and horses and any other wildlife. I know I care about what they think about me, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be good most of the time. But I serve, as I always have, ever since I was a very small child. I serve upstairs, primarily Pleiadian, and that's who my family is. So I really could care less, and I'm going to step forward, and hopefully get other people to step forward too, and not to feel fear of being judged or criticized or what have you. And I don't judge; I observe. There's a difference. There's a big difference. And I always tell people, look, you can be observing things. It's different from judging, right? So the day that Semjase came forward to me, I was still kind of figuring out my place. I don't think I'll ever figure out my place on Earth until my husband joins me, and then I'll have a place. Because even back home, I'm very reclusive. I'm a hermit, and I don't spend a lot of time. I don't use technology or anything like that, really. Even back home in Erra, I'm just very simple. And yeah, our house have technology, obviously, on Erra, but I'm not into it. It's not something I'm looking for. I never had any interest to leave my planet and go gallivanting across planet to planet. No interest. So I didn't even barely go into the city. Occasionally, just with Eeka, I would go into the city, but rare. And so yeah, that day, yeah, and I'll talk more about my experiences being in a human body, growing up here on Earth, and yeah, a lot of the like shock, I think, more of anything. I mean, it wasn't particularly bad, I'll say that. Yeah, I was abducted once, but I think once, I'm not sure, they're not telling me, but I know once anyway. But just my experiences with other humans was horrifying to say the least. So it really made me want to create a very small space for myself. I just wanted to hide my whole life. I just didn't want anybody to see me. I just didn't want to have anything to do with people. And I kept myself really small. Of course, other people kept me pretty small too. So it was an easy, an easy project. It wasn't difficult. Yeah, it was like the world just didn't, like people just didn't, I didn't, yeah. Anyway, if there was going to be a scapegoat, it was going to be me. So that's the whole point of growing up alien, actually. So when she first came through to me, I didn't tell anybody for a very long time. Because I'm like, oh my God, no one's gonna believe this, you know. I can't, yeah. And she would just keep coming and we're chatting and I'm like, yeah, this is her. And yeah, she started telling me stuff about Billy Meier, which I will never reveal. That's between me and Semjase. Then it might be a deathbed one. Hopefully, I won't have a deathbed here on this planet. And if I do, it's going to be with my Pleiadian friends because I don't want to live a human life here. Yeah, well, two reasons for that. One, I don't want to live a human life. Two is that that means that we failed and you guys are screwed. So I mean, yeah, I think that's like there's two reasons. Yeah, the main one would be we failed and you guys are screwed. That would be the main reason. But there's so many of us that are walking around on this planet and we just are doing that, making ourselves small and not wanting to be seen because people attack you. I totally understand why. You're going to be attacked. You're going to be called a fraud. Well, look what happened to Billy Meier. I don't understand the human mentality, the sense of the jealousy. Not that we're, I mean, of course. I mean, Eeka's jealous. He's terrible. He's terrible. He's crawling to the table now, and he's jealous. I know him. I felt him being jealous. We have the same, uh, personalities, right? There's people from Erra that are nice, and there's people that aren't nice, and I've met all of them. So all the ones that are nice, and not all of them, but I mean, like I've met some lousy people. We just, I've gone up on ships with Eeka, and he's had to like plead my case. I don't even know what I did. It was embarrassing. Anyway, a lot of stories about working with other extraterrestrials on this planet, and some of the things that can go a little hiccupy sometimes. Um, so yeah, so many of us don't think blue, like Semjase is like, what? We're friends. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, okay, we're friends. It's cool. So, but it's just something I never shared with anybody because, I totally was concerned with kind of, I don't know, it's just, I just didn't, it was precious to me, this relationship that we have. And, I know the entire, and you guys know that, and that a lot of this galactic stuff has not turned into what it was supposed to be, which was an Earth liberation mission. It's turned into an ego party of celebrities and likes and money making and all that stuff. And I think that's really shocking. I don't like, I get it. I know you need money on this planet. Well, we all need resources. And that kind of greed and ego exists across the galaxy. It exists on Erra too. Um, it's a matter of personal choice, what kind of person you want to be. And some people choose to be that way. They choose to live in ego. And good luck to them, right? It's not, I don't, that's their thing. I just don't want them around me. And I'm sure people, if you're watching this channel, you're the same. You're like, I don't want them around me either, right? Like I said, I want this to be a community. I don't want this to be about me. I want this to be about you guys. And that's why I'm just coming forward in order to kind of like, sweep aside some of the stuff that's out there. And one of the fun things I'm kind of curious about, like as this channel becomes, and I think the Galactics are behind it, the way that we're gaining subscribers like this. So I'd be curious to see like all the people that like didn't think I existed before and now they're all going to want to come forward and talk to me. I'm waiting for that. It's like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I want to talk to you guys. I'm just like, Eeka's the same way. He works with officers and he's just like, I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to the people that are real, the regular airmen that are just so cool. Yeah, some of the stuff he shows me because this is what's going to happen. People have to understand that, most of your contacts that are the extra off-planet people that you're going to be contacting, they're very nice, they're very gentle, they're very loving. And you know this whole, they're not really going to want to experience people who have egos and that kind of thing. I know, I remember from being at my house, and it's just like, we like to live in a very peaceful, loving kind of situation. And that's the thing we're trying to bring to Earth. So as long as people are living in ego and fighting amongst each other and finger pointing and creating all this judgment and hatred, and you're not special enough to do this, and I'm special and you're not this, and I worked hard, blah blah, whatever. Service is the whole point of existence. You're supposed to work hard. You're supposed to serve, and it's supposed to hurt. As our teammate Zachar, Louise Jones will be coming on sometime. She's a friend of mine too, and we all really look up to Zachar. He's an insectoid, and he's a lovely person, and he always reminds us, no one said this was going to be easy, and it's like, yeah, you're right. We can still throw chairs and get angry though. In the meantime. But anyway, going back to Semjase, yeah, sure, Billy Meier is he still alive? He's the real deal. And a lot of what she shared with him was real. Sure, I do believe that some of the government got involved or some of the bad humans got involved and tried to trip him up as they were wont to do back in those days. But yes, Semjase did meet with Billy Meier over several years, and her father did as well. And the reason how I know Semjase is from back home. We were friends and we're still friends. And we go home together sometimes and she sets up date nights for me and Eeka in the Astral, and it's really cute. She bought us this really nice like I don't know what because we sleep outside almost all the time. We're almost never in the house. And she bought us this really kind of nice tapestry. Like she's like, oh, and this is so nice. But my experience with her recently, I had mentioned that in a previous video. I'm not sure I actually posted on YouTube, but maybe I did. She had some really cool information about the placements of many thousands of off-planet humans on Earth in order to assist those of us who are here now working hard, all of you envoys and starseeds and walk-ins that are really, and also, extraterrestrials in their real bodies who are working here on the planet. It's an assistance. And some of these guys, which I didn't know because she didn't mention to me. So I'm going to have my friend Frank Chili come on because Frank has a really nice friendship with Semjase. And we'll do a special video of Frank Chili and Semjase and Val Thor, who's also a good friend. Oh, geez, all of the people are going to go crazy. You don't know Val Thor? Like, well, yeah, yeah, kind of do. I mean, not me. I don't know him well because I'm not from Venus, but I have friends that have contact with him and a closer relationship with him, which is going to blow some people's minds. And you know what? That's their problem. So that'll be a separate issue anyway, separate podcast. So, I'm old, I'm not a spring chicken and on both places actually here and here and back home. And Eeka is no spring chicken either. He's been around, people know him. He has a lot of contacts, upstairs and of course downstairs as well. He's well received because he's a nice guy. I mean, let's face it, he's a nice guy and he's, he would sacrifice himself. I know he totally would. And he does, really want to live in service as much as he can. He's so giving, it's mind blowing. Which is one of the reasons I'm attracted to him too as well. So it's like, but he helps me to be that way, and unlearning all of the nastiness that I was sort of absorbing here on this planet. Yeah, I almost do another whole nother series on that. Is these almost like these spiritual deaths that we have here as we shed all of those horrible things that the personas, that other people put up on us, you can't be yourself, you have to be what I want you to be kind of thing that we've just been, choked with here on this planet. And you have to shed all that stuff to find out who you really are again. And it's a long journey, and it's really grief because you have to grieve yourself. You die many times in this process. And I don't know how many more of these I'm going to have, but I basically am in a second life right now. And the original life that I had walked into here, I had shed several times, and I'm still shedding those experiences as I understand as I remember, as my son told me, remember my son on Erra, remember who you are, Mom, remember who you are. And I'm trying, I'm trying. And so yeah, here's some, yeah. I mean, these are AI, the closest I can get. That's not what she looks like. All those people grow up. It's AI people. Yes, it's stupid that we have. I find that just insane that Semjase can't be with us right now and have a conversation in person with us. But that's the kind of idiots that you have on this planet. I mean, it's just mind blowing the stupidity of your governments and all the controllers. Really, really mind-blowing. But hopefully we'll get rid of all that. So I played around with some images of her, try to get as close as I can. It's like to what she actually looks like. But yeah, she opened up this whole feminine side of me that I never really had before. That, well, Eeka started it, but that'll be, like I said, that's just between me and I. He loves talking about romance, so we'll add that in a separate issue, a video, and also the experiences I had ever since I was a very small child, going up on ships and also talking with Pleiadian elders, and they were guiding me and trying to show me who I was and what I was supposed to do and all that. And the extraterrestrials that I worked with here, I'm actually, I'm a plant here. I'm an observer. So I would observe humans and then report back to crew members in the Galactic Federation that would then use that information. That's what I did. I'd observe humanity and then report. So yeah, Semjase started bringing out the girly side of me, which kind of put me more in my body, in a different way, in a more feminine way. Started buying more attractive. Told me I actually had to try buy more. You got to start looking nice. You got to wear these prettier clothes and buy, trying to make yourself attractive. And I'm like, oh my God, you okay? Like, all right, yeah, all right. And they're like, you got to do that. So we've been on that journey, and it's been kind of fun having a girlfriend in a way I've never had before. Well, I had before, just before I had come in here. Ika's never interested in the clothes. He's funny. I'm like, how come you're not interested? You love women's bodies. Like, how come you're not interested in clothes? And he's just like, man, I'm like, oh. Until I started putting them on, and then he's like, oh, I'm interested in the clothes. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. What? Or like, what? He was all excited. It's like, oh, you like clothes when there's a woman in them. I'm like, oh, yeah, oh God. Oh, men, right? I don't care. Girls, ladies, I don't care where they are in the universe, men are men. Sometimes I'll be watching some show, or some he drives, he goes around me, he spends some time, in the astral. If I'm driving around, he'll be with me. And there'll be an attractive woman that he thinks is attractive, and I can feel that. And I'm like, God. And we were watching TV, and a woman that he finds attractive will come on, and I can, he likes that. So I'm like, oh my God, yes, yeah, they're men are men, ladies, right? So I play with him all the time too, as I have this thing for Nordics. I always kind of rub it rather than I like it. Yes, I like Nordics. So one of the things I wanted to just mention before this last image here, that I ended with, like one day I hope to go back home again, and that's supposed to kind of represent, Semjase and me back home, finally after all this ends. That would be my goal. And I'm actually much shorter than her. But I'm not fooling around. I'm not going to mess with the AI. God knows what they come up with. So yeah, I'm much shorter than she is. But anyway, going back to what she was talking about, that the um, Federation has trained many off-planet humans to come onto this planet here to assist. And that was one of the meetings we had back at my house on Erra. I said, Erra, let's go hang out, and we did. And she was telling me all about this, and she was very excited about that. And I told my friends, I said, you know what Semjase just told me? I said, she says they're going to be putting all these off-planet people, our visitors, here to assist. And lo and behold, it was only about a week later when a fellow named JP, and if you haven't subscribed to JP's channel, and I'm going to tell you right now, JP is the real deal. Now, he doesn't know my husband. I did ask him before he became, super famous at this point. He didn't have a whole lot of subscribers at first, which was shocking, but they gained him very quickly. But I said, thank you for your service and all you've done in the Army. And I said, my husband's in the Air Force. He's an extraterrestrial. He's a Pleiadian. And but I asked Eeka, I said, JP? And no, because he hasn't, JP was in Florida and Eeka's not in Florida. He has been to Florida to do some things, but he'd never met with JP. But JP picked up some of these off-planet gentlemen, and he mentioned this on a Michael Salla exopolitics episode. And I was like, wow, okay. That's what Semjase was telling me about a week ago. Well, actually, she wanted to tell me about it even before then, but we just couldn't meet. We were having a hard time getting, some time. I want to have a special meeting with her where we'd kind of hang out and stuff. So yeah, I couldn't believe it. And I told my friends, I said, look, this is what, remember, look, this is what Semjase had just mentioned, you know? So it's always nice to see information that you're given. And I never doubt information I'm given. I trust upstairs and whatever information they give me. I don't need any verification from down here. I am in my own sovereignty and I need no one's approval of what I do, other than the fact that I wish that the people that I work for upstairs are happy with my service, even though I gripe a lot. So, but yeah, that was pretty cool to see that being shared with a large number of the population, um, so that people have an idea of what's going on. There was one fellow, mm, very curious situation. My mom was going shopping at a drugstore place, you know, like a, and I was just following her because I hate drugstores. So I was just kind of like, here we are in the drug. Here we are. I hate her stuff, so we are at a drugstore. And there was a young man, shoulder length blonde hair, golden blonde hair, and he was a cashier there. And you know, I just looked at him because unusual to see men with long hair here. So that's nice, you know. Nice young man. Very nice there. He's very friendly. Very, very friendly. So that's such a nice fellow. So I'm walking away and I could feel him. I could feel his, because I feel people's vibrations. I feel their energies. And animals as well, and trees, and I can feel all their energy fields. So I'm walking away from him, but the energy wouldn't leave. I said, what the hell? It's just stopped me kind of. I'm like, what? I was like, what? I've never felt this before. Well, you know, on Earth with Earth people. I'm like, what is this? And usually Earth people vibe a kind of awkwardness that I don't, I'll talk about. I don't want, I'm not judging, I'm observing here. It's a different energy field that feels very uncomfortable for me. And yeah, his energy field was amazing. It was beautiful. It was like just so resonance. I'm like, ooh, I like this a lot. And I'm like, wow. I'm like kind of absorbing it. And I'm like at least 20 feet away from him and it's still there. I'm like my mom is shopping and I'm like trying to process what's going on here. I'm like, what is going on? And I looked at him and like, he's not extraterrestrial because I can tell by his energy field. It's amazing, but it's like it's not that, you know. Cute, very nice looking young man, you know, but definitely an earth human. And I'm just like, wow, you know, I want to, it's like, I want to say something to him, but I'm like, yeah, that would be weird. Hi, are you, no, I was like, what would I even say to this guy? You know, so I didn't say anything. So my mom finally picked out whatever she wanted and we went up to pay and he's like super nice, just radiating compassion and friendliness that's like off the charts. I'm just like, whoa. Is and I'm, you know, doing the same back and wow. So yeah, it was really like I never forgot this kid. I'm just like I never saw him again, by the way, working there. And some people through another friend of mine, they've asked me about, you know, I'm working at this place and there's this guy that works, there's a young man that works there, and he's like really smooth skin and so friendly, and he's been kind of like hanging around me. And I said, you know, the thing to do is to telepath with them, you know, and if he hears you, then you know that he is, you know, one of us, right? One of the off-planet people. So anyway, this young man, never saw him again because I really wanted to. Like I went back to write it. I don't want to go back to the store, but I'm going to go, you know, see if he's there. And he wasn't. I never saw him again, which is weird. Again, yeah. And so when JP had mentioned that these extraterrestrials were changing their appearance, which I know everybody in my group is like gasping, like, ew, I know, like, oh my God, that's please, you know, don't change. Well, they're changing their appearance apparently to look more Earth human. Ew, I know. It's bad enough for me being in this body. It's just like torture. But Eeka loves this body. So anyway, okay. Makes him happy, right? I think he threatens me with cutting his hair short because I'm like, if you cut your hair short, forget it, buddy. So that's like we're now in this I have to stay in my earth body, which he really likes, and he won't cut his hair. So yeah. Anyway. um so yeah, JP had mentioned that they were changing the way they looked. It's like, oh, hey, well, that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys with that and to tell you to be on the lookout. So don't expect them necessarily to look like the off-planet people do, but feel the vibration, right? And if you're suspect about this really makes you feel amazing vibe that comes off these people, telepath with them and see if you get a connection. Okay. So, grace and gratitude.